Hi, my friends, and welcome back. I apologize for the background noise, but I think I've been waiting long enough for these guys to do their garden work, and we'll just have to battle on through all this noise. Anyway, before I get into today's video, I see Melba from Melba's Restaurant was a judge on a cooking show on Oprah Winfrey's channel. I thought it's interesting and just strange how the connections lead from one to another. So, I took one for the team and watched the entire Meghan and Ellen debacle. I wanted to do a video sooner, but decided to watch the entire thing first. An hour of my life I'll never get back again. Never mind. The best thing about the entire show for me was Meghan's Oscar de la Renta blouse. I loved the blouse, and she's absolutely welcome to let me know which trash can she dumped it in when she's done with it. Anyway, moving on, Ellen introduced Meghan as the Duchess of Sussex and even referred to her title a couple of times during the program, saying things like, oh, how difficult it is to pronounce it, blah, blah, blah. They started talking about how they had met years ago when Ellen told Meghan to adopt a dog, and how they are now neighbors and actually see a lot of one another. They talk about how Harry loves the Californian lifestyle and weather, and Meghan told a story about how she visited the studios a lot in the past when coming for auditions. And then she told the same story she told before in an interview in 2016 during a Create and Cultivate conference about herself as a struggling actress driving this old, beat up Ford Explorer Sport. But in 2016, she said that the locks stopped opening with the clicker and only the trunk would open with the key. In the Ellen interview, she said the key stopped opening the driver's side door. Anyway, in both stories, she said she had to climb through the trunk to get into her car. Well, according to a family member of Meghan's, this is a figment of Meghan Markle's imagination. And even if this had happened, I mean, things do happen with cars, either her father or Trevor would have had it fixed within a day. Remember, while at college, Meghan did not drive a Ford Explorer, as evident in these pictures that I'm putting on the screen now. And from what I am told, she drove this particular vehicle here on your screen at least until 2003. And remember, she started dating Trevor in 2004. Anyway, other than the fact that Trevor or Thomas would have had the problem fixed very quickly, I asked an expert about all of this, and he said that depending on what the problem was, whether with the actual key or the mechanism inside the door, to fix it would cost between $50 and $200 these days. It would most likely have been less a couple of years ago. Now, I'm sure that Thomas and Trevor could have scratched that much together between themselves. Anyway, according to the same family member, the Ford Explorer Sport was not a beat up, and the number plate was not hanging from a bungee cord. And it is more likely that she parked the Ford at the back of the lot because she was embarrassed, as most of the other vehicles were BMWs or flashy sport cars. Or perhaps she got the idea from a 2000 Alfa Romeo advertisement where Catherine Zeta-Jones climbed through the trunk, or maybe she got the idea from a story which did the rounds that Lady Diana smuggled a lover into Kensington by hiding him in the trunk. Who knows where she got the idea from? All I know is that a Ford Explorer Sport does not have a trunk, but a hatch, and the hatch is a fifth door. So Mexie, once again, was telling a tall tale. And guys, no. She also cannot say she was mistaken this time and it happened elsewhere. As I went and looked, she rented an Audi SUV once she moved to Toronto. And eventually she even gave that up and had a chauffeur driven, sponsored vehicle for the last year or so in Toronto. She also spoke of a Halloween party her, Harry, Eugenie, and Jack went to in Toronto in 2016. According to her, the last time they could go out incognito before the story broke that they were in a relationship. Well, I'm not disputing that they went to a Halloween party or that they went along with Eugenie or Jack. I'm just thinking that this is once again an embellished story. Firstly, although it was only announced officially that they were dating in November 2016, the Sunday Express reported on them dating in early to mid-October already, so before Halloween. In November, the Star reported that the pair attended a Halloween party in Toronto, but the US Weekly reported that Meghan and Harry stayed put in her apartment all weekend. Whichever story is true, if Meghan and Harry would dress up in a full Halloween costume today, they will still be unrecognizable and could still attend a party incognito, except, of course, for their security. Oh, yes, and the hordes of photographers and videographers they hired to follow them. Excuse me, I very nearly forgot about those. Anyway, let's move on. Then Meghan and Ellen spoke about this year's Halloween. Archie was apparently not impressed with his dinosaur costume and would not wear the head. Which kid would wear a full head? My granddaughter is 2.5 and she wouldn't. She was a unicorn, but the bodysuit had a cap with a silver horn on top, and we just put the cap on like we would any other cap. There is no way she would allow us to put a full structure over her head, and neither, I'm sure, would any of these smaller children who were with us, like Little Miss Peppa Pig, Superman, or the brown bear, have allowed a full headpiece over their heads. Apparently, Lily was dressed like a skunk, just like Flower in Bambi. Yeah, Megan, we all know by now that your mommy and daddy called you Flower, okay? Well, during this segment, it becomes apparent that Megan still calls dear old Harry H, as she keeps referring to him as H. Then she again tells the story of her making and selling scrunchies at school when she was only 8. Ellen then launches into the Times cover Meghan and Harry were on and her campaigning for paid family leave. And Meghan replies that she will do everything she can to implement that for the people. And those, my dears, were her exact words. I actually typed it and can play it for you if you want me to. Who does she think she is? And what does she think can she do? She's not an elected member of parliament. And what people? Who are her people? What the heck is she talking about? And then her and Ellen plug the bench a little. Meghan said she wrote it for Harry while watching him and Archie play on Father's Day. And then she shared the poem with friends. And then they suggested she turn it into a children's book. Okay, guys. So now it's again the friend's fault, just like it is the friend's fault. Her letter to Daddy Lee. Good golly. Miss Meghan need new friends. Darn it. Wow. Okay. And then, of course, every person in the audience got a copy of the book, whether they wanted one or not. I think we will all be happy once she runs out of those 2,000 or 4,000 copies she bought. Goodness, how many can she have left? Anyway, at some point during this spot, they pulled up a picture of Archie, again taken from behind, in the chicken coop. Then they spoke about the book she wrote as a child. You know, the "A face without freckles is like a night without stars," that book. The line she plagiarized, and the book we have only seen one page of. Then they pulled that stunt or prank where Meghan agreed to visit some street vendors and do and say exactly what Alan told her to. Now, I really do not know what their goal was with this stunt. I really don't. First, the vendors were told who she was and told not to treat her any differently. Now, firstly, as these vendors were in a parking lot of a film studio, I would assume they have run into celebrities before, but I can then only assume that the reason why they were warned or told beforehand was because they most likely wouldn't have recognized Meghan anyway, wouldn't know who she was. So Ellen's lady had to come out and tell them who she was and then ask them to treat her normally. Ellen then basically tells Meghan to do silly things like holding a crystal to her head, to stuff her mouth when she tastes something, drink milk from a baby bottle, and to sing a silly kiddies jingle. Just silly, childish, and embarrassing. Not only for Meghan, who actually looked as if she was enjoying it, but for the poor vendors as well. Finally, they have the last part where they bring on a lady by the name of Brittany Stark, who, as a project to pay it forward after someone helped her out, started braiding little girls' hair for free before they start the school year. This was such a success that she's now extending it to a clothes drive and a mentor program. At this point, Ellen announced that Tisbest, Tisbest, was donating $20,000 to Brittany and that Harry and Meghan will also donate 20,000. Well, my dears, I have an opinion on this as well, but for now I'll keep it to myself as Brittany is obviously a very kind and sweet woman and I wish her all the best for her future venture. She was also obviously very nervous. So, my dears, what can I say about all of this other than to once again agree with Piers Morgan, who said Meghan behaved like a gormless, desperate reality TV star on her vomit making Ellen cheese fest that even a Kardashian would have deemed this humiliating fiasco too brand damaging. Well, old Piers says it all. Other than that, there's not much more left to say after this cringe fest. Most of everything have been said already. This woman, along with her husband, is a fake, a liar, an embellisher, and an embarrassment as the Duchess. But who cares? The British royal family and British government does not seem to care. So have her continue playing the clown until everyone else in the family comes across as being woke dimwits. What can we do about it? I'll be back sometime over the weekend with a short piece on a rather shocking piece of gossip I heard, and I'm just busy collecting some more detail. So, until then, take care of yourselves. See you soon.